Hey YouTube, this is PrimetimePokemon. In this video, I'll be reviewing and then giving away the Untitled Ancient Origins theme deck. This theme deck features Metagross. On the cover artwork of the deck is based around Metagross. And the first half of this video, I'll be reviewing the Untitled theme deck, and then the second half of the video, I'll lay out the rules to entry for winning this theme deck. And I do have giveaways at least once every single month on YouTube, and I will be giving away both Ancient Origins decks in the coming 2 months. Next month, I'll be reviewing the Stoneheart theme deck that features Regice. So, these theme decks are $12.99 in stores. I can read the back of the box here, just a summary of the deck, and then get into the actual cards. But here's a list of the cards in the deck here, what you'll find on the inside, and whoever does win this theme deck will receive everything on the back there. But it says, Fury of Waves, Song of Steel. Crush your opponents with iron or sink them in the depths. Either way, you wield the chilling might of the Untitled theme deck. With Metagross leading the way, this deck shines like steel from the start. Add in some big attacks like Forbidden Iron Hammer from Registeel and Hydro Splash from Vaporeon, and your opponent is awash in trouble, bubbles, and a steely doom. Then evolve Magikarp to Gyarados to truly thrash opposing Pokemon and watch the tide of the battle turn in your favor. So I'll open it up here. I've actually opened this already just so I could get the cards all organized inside here. I'll show everything that's on the inside. Here is the playmat. If you're just a beginner, theme decks are a very good way to start learning the TCG. Here's the damage counters, burn marker, and poison marker. Here's a checklist for the Ancient Origins set. There's the 60 card deck with Metagross, just a carrying case basically for the deck. Here is a coin, looks like a Groudon on it. There you go, get a good shot of it on camera. And then there's an online TCG code card, so if there's not any leagues near you, you can unlock this deck online and play on there. And then the final card is the Metagross special holofoil card. You can see there's shards in the pattern. You can see it right there. So there it is. Now I'll go through each and every card. Okay, so first up here, there is a 4-2-2 line of Beldum, Metang, and Metagross. If you're interested in individual card reviews more in depth, I do review every single card on my blog from all the sets, all the way back from almost black and white almost. I've done every single card from every set. Working on Roaring Skies right now, and we'll get to Ancient Origins quite soon. Like I said, a 4-2-2 line of Beldum, Metang, and Metagross. So Beldum, Metal type Pokemon, 60 HP, so average HP. 2 moves, Ram and Spinning Attack. This would be a good starter card because it can do 10 damage for 1 energy card. However, notice that its retreat cost is 2 colorless energy cards, so you'll have to either attach 1 more energy card to Beldum before retreating it, or plan on evolving Beldum into Metang while in the active Pokemon spot. So 4 Beldum, so quite a few Beldum. Then 2 Metang. 90 HP, so a good HP for stage 1. 2 moves on this card as well. Metal Claw does 30 damage for 2 energy cards, and then Bullet Punch does 50 damage for 3 energy cards, plus 20 more damage for each heads you get when you flip 2 coins, so it could do 90 damage total. More than likely, I would estimate about 70 damage for 3 energy cards. So this is a solid stage 2 card, but again, a little higher retreat cost here, so I definitely recommend either setting up this entire line on the bench right away, or just planning, once you move Beldum into the active Pokemon spot, evolving it all the way to Metagross there, not retreating it at all. Okay, so 2 of those and 2 Metagross. Only 1 I'll show here, and the other one is the holo card that I showed previously. Metagross here has only 1 move and an ability, starting with the HP of 150, so a solid HP is, again, so the entire Pokemon family has good HP, but the Magnetic Warp is the ability that Metagross has. It says, once during your turn, you may switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. If you do, your opponent switches his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her bench Pokemon. So I like that ability quite a bit. This basically provides a free retreat cost for any of your Pokemon in play, and also spreads damage around on the defending Pokemon, because you can do damage, 30 damage let's say, to the defending Pokemon, and then the next turn if you switch out your active Pokemon, they have to switch out theirs, and then you'd put 30 more damage the next turn on a different Pokemon. This card has one move called Iron Cannon, does 80 damage for 4 energy cards, and it says you may discard all metal energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, this attack does 80 more damage. So if you're facing a Stage 2 or possibly an EX card, it may be worth to discard 2 metal energy cards to do 160 damage in one turn. Overall, I like Metagross quite a bit. It's a good start to this deck. Bellnumbatang and Metagross, all average to above average. Okay, next up, there's just one Registeel. You can always add another Registeel and remove a different card, but this Registeel, 120 HP, so a very high HP for a basic Pokemon card. 2 moves. Iron Head does 30 damage times the number of heads you get when you flip a coin until you get a tail, so it could end up doing 0 damage if you get a tails right away. And then Forbidden Iron Hammer does 70 damage for 3 energy cards, so an above average move there. It says if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, discard an energy attached to that Pokemon. So I like Registeel as well. Again, a little bit slower, so you're going to want to set up this card on the bench before putting it in the active Pokemon spot, or you could attach a Trick Coin trainer card to this card and have 2 chances of getting 2 or 3 heads in a row to do more than 30 damage, or more than 0 damage if you decide to use Iron Head. Okay, so next up is a colorless type Pokemon, Eevee. There's a 3-2 line of Eevee and Vaporeon. Vaporeon, of course, being the water type evolution of Eevee. So Eevee, 60 HP, so not any Pokemon so far that have had below average HP. Tackle does 10 damage, so a good starter type Pokemon here. And then Lunge does 30 damage, but if you get a Tails when you flip a coin, this move does nothing. So another card that may be useful to use with Trick Coin, but a solid starter type Pokemon, so I would recommend either Beldum or Eevee to put out there right away when starting the game. 3 Eevee cards and then 2 Vaporeon. 90 HP, so a good HP again. This card does have an ability called Aqua Effect that says each of your Stage 1 Pokemon in play is now a water Pokemon in addition to its existing types. So this would be an advantage because the defending Pokemon could have a weakness to water type Pokemon, then you'd be able to do twice the damage to that Pokemon. And then Hydro Splash does 70 damage for 3 energy cards, so it is very similar to the Registeel card in that it does above average damage for 3 energy cards. So I like this line as well. I haven't been disappointed with any of these cards so far in the deck. So move on now. So there are the 2 Vaporeon cards. Then next up is a 2-1 line of Magikarp and Gyarados. Like usual, Magikarp is really a useless card to use. You're going to want to set this line up on the bench. So Magikarp, 30 HP, basically what every Magikarp card has, and then only one move that can potentially do 30 damage a turn, but you have to get 2 heads when flipping 2 coins. If you get a Tails at all, the move does nothing. So unless you're just forced to put Magikarp into the active Pokemon spot, make sure not do that. Evolve Magikarp into Gyarados on the bench. And this Gyarados card is an Ancient Trait card, first Ancient Trait card that I've reviewed here in this deck. 130 HP for a Stage 1, so a very good HP. Its Ancient Trait is called Double, and it says this Pokemon may have up to 2 Pokemon tool cards attached to it. Besides the Ancient Trait, it has 2 moves. First one is called Full Retaliation. 2 colorless energy cards. It does 30 damage plus 30 more damage for each damage counter on each of your benched Magikarp. So this potentially could do, if you have the other Magikarp card on the bench and has 20 damage on it, this move could do 90 damage for only 2 energy cards. But like I said, you're not going to want to ever have Magikarp in the active Pokemon spot. It'll get knocked out pretty quickly. And then Thrash. This is the better move on Gyarados. For 4 energy cards, it does 100 damage. Plus, if you get a heads when you flip a coin, the attack does 30 more damage. If tails, this move does 30 damage to Gyarados, which I'm not that concerned about just because Gyarados has such a high HP. Even if it had 100 HP, it'd still be above average for a stage 1 card. So I like Gyarados quite a bit. Again, we're running with the theme of slow Pokemon that do major damage. So Metagross is a little bit slower on the attack, Gyarados is slower on the attack, and Registeel is slower on the attack, as well as Vaporeon. They all require 3 or 4 energy cards to attack. All very powerful moves. So far I really wouldn't make many changes to this deck. Next up is just one Regice card. Like Registeel, a very high HP, 120 HP. And this card has 2 moves. Ice Beam does 30 damage, and it paralyzes the defending Pokemon if you get a heads when flipping a coin. And then Resistance Blizzard does 70 damage, so we're running with the theme of 70 damage for 3 energy cards. And it says, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX. So both Registeel and Regice have moves that do a little bit more if you're facing EX cards. And if you find a little bit weaker of a card later on in this deck, Regice or Registeel may be a Pokemon that you want to add one more of in this deck. Okay, next up, there are 2 Relicanth cards. 90 HP for a basic Pokemon, so a good HP again. Deep Sea Search for 1 energy card allows you to search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon tool cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. And this move works well with Gyarados' ancient trait, allowing you to attach 2 tool cards to it. So you can basically use this move, get 2 tool cards, and attach it to Gyarados right away. And then Takedown does 30 damage for 2 colorless energy cards. However, it does do 10 damage to Relicanth. So this again isn't a bad basic Pokemon card by any means. A little bit quicker on the attack, requiring only 2 energy cards, and does do average damage. So there's the second Relicanth card. Next up, there is a 4-2 line of Meowth and Persian. Now Meowth, 60 HP for a basic, so average HP. Only 1 move that is called Act Tough. Does 10 damage, and then it says if this Pokemon has any darkness energy attached to it, this attack does 20 damage more. So this card would be more useful in a darkness type deck, but for a starter type Pokemon, 10 damage for 1 energy card isn't bad at all. And unlike Beldum, this card has a low retreat cost of only 1 colorless energy card. So 4 of these, we'll see how good Persian is. If it isn't that great, that would be a spot to exchange a Meowth card for another Regice or Registeel. So here's Persian. 2 Persian cards and 90 HP, so good HP again. 2 moves. Fake Out does 30 damage for only 1 energy card, and it paralyzes the defending Pokemon if you get a heads. And then Ambush does 40 damage for 2 energy cards. It says to flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 30 more damage. So it could do up to 70 damage for 2 energy cards. So Persian is pretty good. I would probably do a 3-2 line of Meowth and Persian, and then add another Regice or Registeel to the deck, or even another Gyarados card. So that is it for the Pokemon. We're going to move on to the trainer cards. I'm quite impressed by the Pokemon in this deck. There really wasn't any complaints about any of the cards. I would actually just go ahead and play with this deck the way that it is, see how it is for a few games, and then make slight modifications from there. But it seems like all the cards work very well together. A lot of them do 70 damage for 3 energy cards. A couple of the cards do extra things against EX cards, and a couple of the cards paralyze the defending Pokemon as well. So very happy with all of the Pokemon cards. Now we're on to the trainer cards. First one is an Ace Trainer. And this is a supporter card, meaning that you only can play one supporter per turn. This one says that you can play this card only if you have more prize cards left than your opponent, so that means you're losing in the game. It says each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck, then draw 6 cards. Your opponent draws 3 cards. So it would be better to use this earlier in the game where your opponent probably has more cards in their hand, so you may want to use this card right away after you get your first Pokemon knocked out if you have not knocked out any of your opponent's Pokemon yet. Next up, there is an escape rope, just one of these, and this is an item card. It says each player switches his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her bench Pokemon. This is quite similar to the ability on Metagross, so I'd probably take this card out if you plan on using Metagross quite a bit or having it on your bench. It's basically the same thing as this one. Next up is Healing Scarf. There's 2 of these. It says whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to the Pokemon this card is attached to, heal 20 damage from it. Now this is a very good trainer card. I definitely do that. Get these out very early. Attach these 2 Pokemon, so every time you attach an energy card, and like I mentioned, a lot of the cards in this deck are a little bit slower on the attack. So if you, for example, had to move Metagross into the active Pokemon spot before you could get 4 energy cards on it, you could retreat it using its ability, and then heal Metagross, the damage that was put on it, with Healing Scarf, and then you'd be able to put it in the active Pokemon spot a little while later without any damage on it at all. So that's a pretty good trainer card right there. Next up is Level Ball, just one Level Ball. It says to search your deck for Pokemon with 90 HP or less, reveal it and put it into your hand. Now this card won't work as well as I would have liked because so many of the cards in this deck have higher than 90 HP, but if you're looking for a quick basic Pokemon to find, or a stage 1 that has 90, like a Vaporeon, you can use this card. So I'd think about adding even a couple more of these in the deck. Take out the escape rope. Now there is a Lucky Helmet, just one of these, and it says, and this is a tool card, and you can attach it to a Pokemon. Whenever the Pokemon this card is attached to is your active Pokemon and is damaged by an opponent's attack, draw 2 cards. So early on, if you get this card attached to your active Pokemon, you'd be able to get more energies and more basic Pokemon in your hand right away. Towards the end of the game, you don't want to have that card in play just because you don't want to lose the game by running out of energy cards. Okay, so another supporter card now, Pokemon Center Lady. This one says heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. So this one would be able to remove damage quite quickly, and with so many cards in the set with high HP, it'll make the HP seem even higher and be able to keep them in the active Pokemon spot that much longer. Okay, next up, Professor's Letter, and there's 2 of these. It says to search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. And like I said, with a lot of cards that require 3 or 4 energies to attack, this would be a way to make sure that you can attach 1 energy card per turn by having an energy card in your hand each turn. 2 of those. Then there is a Switch Trainer, just one of these, and basically it just says to switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So if you don't want to use Metagross's ability and have your opponent switch out their active Pokemon, you'll want to use this switch instead, unless you want to discard 3 or 4 energy cards. Second to last trainer card here is Tyranno. Just allows you to draw 3 cards. This card isn't as useful when you have the, I believe it is one of the trainers that I looked at earlier, where you can basically draw cards every single turn. So I'd consider removing this one. And the Lucky Helmet is what I was talking about. This one, if you attach this one right away, there's really no need to use Tyranno at all because you have plenty of cards in your hand. Like I said, 2 Tyranno cards, and then Wally is the last trainer card. And this says to search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon. Shuffle your deck afterward. And it says you can use this card during your first turn or on a Pokemon that was put into play this turn, so you can evolve a Pokemon right away. So it's a pretty good one if you want to level up very quickly. So as far as trainer cards go, these are pretty good as well. Like I said, Healing Scarf would be pretty good. The one that I wouldn't recommend would be Tyranno. You can probably remove that one and Escape Route. But those are the two that I consider to replace. All the other ones are probably pretty useful. So all that's left is energy cards. There are 13 metal and 8 water for a total of 21 energy cards in the deck. So that is it for all of the cards in the deck. I'm a big fan of this deck. I like Metagross as a Pokemon in general, but I would definitely recommend buying this theme deck. I can compare it to the other theme deck next month when I review it. But I like the Pokemon quite a bit, as well as the trainer cards. So that is it for the review. Now on to the giveaway. At the end of this month, I will be messaging the winner. Basically, all you have to do to enter this giveaway is you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and then comment on this video saying that you'd like to enter the giveaway. Remember, only one entry per person. You'll find the complete rules to entry in the description of this video. If you're interested in other deck reviews, I've reviewed almost all of the decks that have been released in the last 6 or 7 years on YouTube, so you'll have plenty of videos to watch if you're interested in playing the TCG and learning about all of the different theme decks out there. So, good luck to everyone. Thanks for watching. As always, check out all the links in the description of this video, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.